With something as inexpensive as stencils, it's pretty easy to quickly accumulate quite a large stash. And then it's time to craft and we don't even remember what we have. If this sounds familiar, then stick around because I'm going to share my 3 tips for functional and compact stencil organization so that you can spend less time searching and more time crafting. The first tip is to use page protectors and a ring album. These 6x8 protectors are nice and sturdy and will fit most stencils. Slimline stencil will stick out a little bit, but to me it's not a big deal, so I think I will just add them to this kind of storage as well. To maximize storage capacity, I am using a white sheet of paper and I insert that in the page protector so that I can then store a stencil at the front and one at the back. I told you, functional and compact. I also use a label maker to create labels, then I adhere to my page protectors so I know which brand and name of the stencil I have. This may not be very important to you, but this is gonna come in handy for tip number 3, so keep it in mind. Yeah, this is 3 for Italians, by the way. The second tip is to divide your stencils by category, and I created 5 different categories for myself. Sim building, floral, patterns, templates, which is something like circular masking stencils or the wreath builder by Gina K Designs, and then I have my bullet journaling stencils. I gathered all the stencils from each category and I stored them together, and then I created dividers for my binders so that I can easily flip through the different categories and find exactly what I'm looking for. I simply took some colored cardstock and I cut it to size. I used a hole punch to punch holes so that I can insert this into my ring binder, and then in order to create something that's a little bit more durable, I decided to laminate my cardstock as well. The hole punch that I'm using is something that was meant for planners, but because it has this little handy guide here, I can keep this in place, and then I'm sure that I am going to punch each cardstock sheet, so each divider, exactly in the same position. So this is just something that was especially useful for this task. I used this cute little die here by ModaScrap to create some tabs that I'm going to basically add at the top of my dividers, and there I'm going to also add a label with the name of the category so that I can easily see where each category of stencil is inside the binder. If you don't have this die, you can use a punch, you can cut your cardstock so that it already has a divider, or you can just skip it, it's up to you. I also added a label on the spine of each ring binder with the categories of stencils that I'm storing in that binder, and this way if I am looking for a particular stencils, I can go to my shelf, pick up the right ring binder right off the bat and then get creative. The third tip is to use an app to create a searchable catalog for your stencils. I recently watched a video from It's Me JD and she was showing the Airtable app. I decided to try it out and I find it absolutely brilliant. And the reason why I love it so much, as I mentioned, is that you're able to search within your entries. I will be very happy to talk about how I set up my catalog in a different video because I use this for my stamps and dies as well. And I'm planning to also add inks and all my supplies within the next century. So let me know if you'd be interested in a separate video about Airtable, but long story short, the reason why I love this is that the catalog is searchable and this has 2 main benefits. If I'm creating a project and I'm looking for, let's say, a heart stencil, I can just search hearts in my catalog and I'm gonna have a list of all the stencils with hearts that I have in my stash. The other benefit to having something like this is that if I do see a new heart-shaped stencil that I really want to buy, I can go in my catalog and check if I have something that's similar or identical to this stencil and decide whether to buy it or not. I'm not saying you shouldn't buy it, I'm just saying you will buy with awareness. Now that our stencils are nice and organized, it's time to play, and in this video right here I share my 6 favorite tools when it comes to stencils. One of them is absolutely amazing and I pretty much never craft without it. So make sure to click right here to watch. I'll meet you there, and remember, keep crafting, keep on shining.